Okay, great. So, well, once again, let me start by introducing myself. My name is Josué Velázquez. I am the Executive Director of the SCM Blended Program here at MIT.
My name is Robert Cumming. I'm the Academic Administrator for the Supply Chain Management Blended Program.
Yes. So if you don't know who we are, maybe you're in the wrong info session, because we've been sending some emails, particularly Robert, during all the admission process, and well, it's been really a great experience for all of us. So I would like just to repeat again what I said before when we didn't have audio. First of all, congratulations for all the hard work. It's been really a very challenging experience for all of us that took part on the admission process and all the committees to select the candidates that are going to be joining this first class in the blended program. It was challenging mainly because of the high quality of all the applicants, and then at the end it became also a challenge in terms of picking the most diverse and interesting group. And if you are now that you are some of the selected students that are going to be joining, it's really a great opportunity for all of you. So we will start now the info session. So the idea is that we can just go and tackle some of the main questions you've been sending us, and to also give you some guidelines of the experience that you are plan to take during the January and also prior to joining at MIT in January. So, well, Robert, can you please just go through the agenda of today's webinar?
Yeah. So as you've experienced, you can provide any sort of questions in the YouTube live chat box to the right of your screen, and we will be monitoring those questions throughout the webinar. Today we'll have our webinar divided into a few different sections. So we'll introduce you to the program, get you familiar with preparing to come to MIT, and then we will go over academics and program requirements that all of you will be very interested to hear, and as you start preparing for your arrival this January. Yep.
All right, great. So shall we go now with the MIT Supply Chain Management Blended team? So as we said before, my name is Josué Velázquez, Robert here next to me, but there are also other people that are part of the team and are going to be engaging with you during the whole experience. We have in the slide Dr. Tuba Efendihill, so hopefully I pronounced her name correctly. She's going to be helping in all the research projects and also following up with you to get like the best out of the capstone projects or the thesis. So we will discuss a little bit more about that. But we are also planning to have another webinar just to discuss all these research projects. And Tuba is going to be with me leading also that part. Also Aaron Gasayans, did I say it correctly? Yeah. Close enough, okay. Thank you, Aaron. Aaron is the program coordinator, so he works managing the schedule and also some of the activities, mainly the whole schedule of January and of experience with the Fiscal Connect. So you're going to be hearing from him a lot. Also Mark Colvin, so he's the academic manager of the Fiscal Network. As you know, the CPL has a network of different research centers. So we'll comment a little bit more about that in a moment. But what Mark does is to coordinate the efforts of all the different centers we have in the different parts of the world, and also the different students that will be joining us during the IAP experience in January. Also with us our smart guy, Sam Gordon, who is the mastermind behind this webinar. So if something goes wrong, we can blame on him. And he's the coordinator of communications and marketing of the Scale Network as well. That includes also the SCM and SCM blended program. And also Ileana is the administrative assistant for both programs. So all of us, we are part of the blended team, but of course there are much more people involved on this, all the CTL staff. But in general, these are the faces that, at least for now, we want you to keep in mind. We are going to be in touch with you to work very closely during this experience prior to coming to January and also during January. Okay. So now we will start with our discussion on the overview of the program, but also the center. So I'm sure that many of you already know many things, because you've been having also Chris Kaplan with you, which is, as you know, the executive director of the Center for Transportation and Logistics, and she's the main instructor of all the MicroMasters courses that you've been taking on. But I would like to go very fast through an overview of what is MIT, what is the Center for Transportation and Logistics, and the relationship also with the SCM programs, and also to discuss part of the research and the different labs initiatives we have in the center. Okay, so let's go to this. So let's just start just showing a little bit about the mission and some figures about MIT. And I would like to start maybe with the last bullet that shows the recent result on the QS ranking. So as you know, it was, I think, launched the QS ranking results 2018, I think a couple of weeks ago. And MIT, again, is obtained the first place of the best university in the world. So this is an acknowledgement that, if I'm not mistaken, it's been consistently for the last 7 years. And well, the university, as you know, is one of those universities in the world that has had the vast majority of Nobel Prizes. Around 80 Nobel Prizes have been, being part of the MIT community. And some of the interesting figures, if you put all the MIT alumni in a specific region, just considering all the economic activities that they represent, it will be the 11th largest economy in the world. And it is interesting when you take into account that we are a university only of 10,000 students, and 60% of them are graduate students. It shows also part of the focus of the university, which is research-oriented. We focus very much in research, and for us, research is innovation, applicability, and many other things. But part of the reason of the purpose of the university comes with this Latin phrase that is part of the logo of MIT that says mens et manus, which means mind at hand. So we can bring the knowledge into solving the problems of humanity, into applications, real applications. And this is just a fragment of President Ray's vision of MIT, that we seek to develop in each member of the MIT community the ability and passion to work wisely, creatively, and effectively for the betterment of humankind. So this shows also part of the expectations we have. A university that is research-oriented, mainly focused on graduate students. You're going to be part of our class of graduate students as well, and how we can actually aim higher to solve the problems of humanity. Right? So this is part of the essence of MIT. Part of MIT, of course, we have the Center for Transportation and Logistics. This center that was founded in 1973, and it's a research center that has a special focus on research and education on our field, which is logistics and supply chain management. We have more than 100 projects, research projects, that are mainly sponsored by companies or government, right? Which is also a way of making the assessment how impactful or relevant is the type of research we conduct here at MIT. And actually, this center, this CTL, is the most important center in the field in the world. And we have something that we call the scale network. So I will mention a little bit more about that in a moment, but also puts together different researchers and students working in different parts of the world on this. Right? So we work building this network, doing research, building education, and also helping organizations and countries to improve the competitiveness of the region and in different topics of economic, but environmental impacts. All right, so let me now just discuss a little bit about different research labs we have. And so I'm sure that many of you have heard some of them. So the center is like the umbrella for different initiatives we have. And there are many different projects, for instance, like the Freight Lab project that works with all transportation, cargo, and that Chris Kaplis is the director and also founder of this lab. We have also humanitarian logistics that works with all the way that you design the different supply chain logistics strategies in the case of disruptions caused by a natural disaster. Right? What is just happening in my home country, in Mexico, that there is now an earthquake. So how you should allocate different ways to provide medicines and different goods to the population. We have also initiatives like the Mega City Logistics Lab, or the Responsible Supply Chain Lab that works in the Mega City Lab. With all the last mile delivery, urban logistics, this is one of the largest labs that we have here in the center, mainly focused on the like mega cities, like these cities that have over 10 million people, all the responsible supply chain lab that works with the sustainability part, mainly with the transparency, social, supply chain innovation, and supply chain resilience. So you know that the professor and also director of the center, Yossi Sheffi, he has published a variety of books on this topic and how we can define better supply chain risk management strategies. Also the Sustainable Logistics Initiative, which I am the lead of that part and aims at finding solutions in terms of logistics that can also be green in terms of the environmental impact. And also the new initiative, we are also launching the Visual Analytics Lab, and has also the idea to put together all the data analytics with visualization tools. But this is just to give you a very briefly idea of the type of research we conduct at the center. And of course, as part of this center, then we have also our supply chain management programs. So just before going to elaborate a little bit more about the programs, this is what we mean when we say the scale network. And this is important because you're going to be joining us in a specific moment in January, in which we are going to have a lot of students coming from all over the world, coming from all these centers. So we have, of course, the headquarters, the Center for Transportation and Logistics, and then the other centers, which in some sense are intended to be the replicate of what we do here at CTL. We have in Spain, the Zaragoza Logistics Center. We have also the Luxembourg Center. We have CLI, which is located in Bogota, Colombia, the Center for Latin American Logistics Innovation. We have Malaysia, Institute of Supply Chain Innovation in Malaysia, and also the one located in Ningbo in China. And all these centers, they work also with specific academic programs, similar to the SCM program, residential and also blended program. Particularly in the case of Zaragoza, this center also launched the blended program, the same as we are doing it now at CTL. And all these students, residential students and blended students, are going to join us also for the experience in January, an IAP that we call the Scale Conference or the Scale Connect, because we're going to put together all this network of centers. So just remember that Scale stands for Supply Chain Logistics Excellence, and refers to this network of different centers in the world.
And in that time period, you'll be able to meet all of your colleagues in these other universities to have up to 200 people, up to 200 students.
Yeah, this is going to be very exciting. A lot of students. I mean, before, if I'm not mistaken, this January, we had like 120 or 30, if I'm not mistaken, right? And now we're going to have more than 200. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. But it's also nice to meet people with different backgrounds and also different cultural experiences. This really fits very much into the mission of MIT and what we intend to do to build a global program. Right. All right, so am I forgetting anything else, Robert?
No.
You need to stop me because I love to talk.
Yeah.
They pay me for talking, so it's a great business. All right, so now, when we talk about the blended program, as you know, this is a new program, a new element that belongs now to the family of the MIT Scale Network. And in this program, we have, like maybe the most important innovation in terms of education, not just at MIT, but also in the world, combining the online education also with all the residential experiences. So to be part of this experience also sets the expectations that we have for all of you as students. And I would like to comment a little bit more about that, also about the class and what is exactly what we expect from you now that you're going to be joining this very special network in logistics and supply chain management. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, we're going to move now to discuss this, to discuss a little bit about this program. So we're going to mention just briefly what is exactly the combination of these two worlds in the online education and also the residential experience. And also, Robert, you will show some of the figures.
Yeah, so we'll give you a good idea of what your classmates look like and how you've all gotten to this point over the past up to 2 or 3 years now that you've been working on your MicroMasters courses. We'll give a breakdown of countries you come from, your background, and what you can expect when you come here.
Excellent. So don't forget that if you have any questions of the things that we are just presenting, something that you are thinking at this time, just write it in the YouTube, and Aaron is very much aware of this, and he's going to be passing all these questions to us. All right? No questions so far, right, Aaron? All right. Very good. So for the program, so as you know, the blended program is a combination of this. It's a brand new program, very innovative, and all of you already earned the MicroMasters credential. So congratulations again. This is a great innovation in education, but also combined with now the residential experience to be part of the SCMb program, which is being also acknowledged for many years from now as the best program in supply chain management in the world. Now to come here and to take this 5-month experience, and then you're going to earn a master's degree from MIT, right? Not just the certificate or the credential that you have already, but also the degree from MIT as a master in supply chain management.
And with that degree, you'll become an official alumni of MIT, join that extensive network of MIT alums, which I think is a very important component of this program.
No, this is also a great point, because of course it comes with all these benefits, and at the same time it comes also with these responsibilities of being part of a so respected program at MIT. Of course, part of the reason of talking to you about what is the mission of MIT, what do we expect from you here, is to say we want you to also aim higher, right? So it's important for sure to look for a good job, a good position, but at the same time to aim to really create impact in the world. This is also part of what we expect from you, to be now part of the family of CTL, but also of the Scale network. Okay? So Robert, could you share some of the figures now?
Yep. So over the past months, we've been reviewing your applications, and now you've gotten to this point where you have confirmed your acceptance to MIT. We are expecting 40+ enrolling blended students to join us January 4th on our first day of orientation. But to get to that point, you have all began your journey many months ago, starting with the online MicroMasters program. And as you can see from the graph to the side, that pool of applicants, or that pool of prospective students, was very wide, up to 200,000 people. And you've slowly narrowed your way down into this select group of 40 students who we will have on campus in January. The makeup of the class includes roughly 30% female, 70% male. We have students coming from the US and international, roughly 25% are US citizens, 75% international. The average age that you can see here is roughly 32 years old, plus or minus 6. And we also have a very competitive group, or a very well-performing group of applicants coming here from the MicroMasters CSX performance. Mm-hmm. The average was 93%, and of the comprehensive final exam, the average was 82%. So as you can see, it's really the top candidates that were able to complete those requirements to get to this point. Yep. And then next we have our figures on the countries that you represent from. The blended class will come from 23 different countries, amazingly. Mm-hmm. For a class of only 40+ students, to have such diversity is really a great achievement that we're very proud of here. You can see the breakdown of the different countries. The United States represents the largest majority, but we have students from China, India, Canada, making up a large portion as well. And then all of you students that represent your home country, where you're just the one individual that will be from here, mm-hmm. You'll join a network of people from Argentina, Bangladesh, Costa Rica. We have students from all over the world coming here that we will be very happy to invite and to join our class. And you'll join the residential students who also hail from 17 countries, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yes. So yeah, we'll have over 30+ countries represented in our group of residential and blended students coming January.
It's going to be very exciting. And we also feel very pleased that now with the MicroMasters program, we get the chance to cover like very different regions. Before we were not getting applicants to come to the residential program, like it's some of the countries that are now represented there in one student group. So we are very excited that you are joining here, and we hope that also by looking at these figures, you also feel part of something that is very special, and you represent very good and as good as you can your country, and to come here to give your best, which is exactly what we expect from you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So now we will move on to helping you navigate your way to MIT over these next couple months. So in these slides, we will talk about upcoming deadlines, preparing for Boston's winter, some of the support that we'll be able to offer through the program. We know many of you, as you saw, 75% of you are international students. So we'll have a few quick slides on preparing for your immigration, and then we'll move on to more academic focus. So this part will be sort of your quality of life focus section of the program. Yep. So we can move to the next slide. So as many of you may, or for many of you, this may be your first time moving to a place with such a brutal winter. I know it was for me. I came from California and had never seen it snow until I turned 18 and moved to Boston for college. And I know that will be an experience for a lot of you as well. So here we have one of MIT's dorms where you can see the pile of snow that accumulated back in 2015. January and February, when you get here, will be the coldest and snowiest months. So we will provide some suggestions to help you come to Boston. Obviously, good shoes to avoid slippery ice, a nice warm coat, especially when you're walking between classes. MIT's campus is pretty open. In the winter, you can navigate between the buildings pretty nice indoors, which is nice, but still you'll want to be prepared for those colder temperatures in those months. But it's sort of a nice experience because you'll see as it gradually gets warmer, everybody's spirit sort of lifts with the culmination of commencement, which has been beautiful the past 5 years that I've seen it. So I think everybody will look forward to that day when it's nice and warm.
Yeah, just keep in mind that in the slide that the figures are average, right? So to say -5, for instance, or the 22 Fahrenheit, it's an average. Sometimes it could be -10, -15 in Celsius. Yeah. So it could be quite cold. So come prepared and buy, if you don't have a raincoat, more just a coat, not a raincoat, but something that could really stand like the winter, like just the picture that you showed. This is so impressive, right? Yeah. Like in the coldest winter.
And luckily, one thing you'll see is MIT is great about maintaining its campus. So a lot of times you'll have no trouble navigating the media area, but when you get to your dorm or when you get to your off-campus housing, if you choose that, you'll see it'll be much more of a challenge to navigate around the city as it moves along.
Yep. Excellent. Yep. All right.
So now just a timeline of important things to keep in mind over the next couple of months. So right now, many of you should have received my email to collect your resume and profile information, and almost all of you have received my email to register for your MIT account. I know there's just a few that I am waiting on sending your coupons to register for your email account later today. Then in October, you will have the ability to submit your international student information, request your student visa documents. And when we get to that slide, I'll give a little bit more information on that. We'll have housing application information, so that opens in late October. Then in November, you'll receive your student bills via email, where you'll have to arrange your payment with MIT. We'll go over a few payment options that are due by December 1st. You'll also want to complete your student medical report form. Massachusetts requires that all students provide this information to universities in order for you to enroll. So it's important that you get those forms filled out in your home country, your home state, so that you can bring them with you, or preferably send them in advance. And then at the very end, January will come and you will arrive for the blended program orientation on Thursday the 4th. We'll also have events on Friday the 5th. And then the Scale conference begins the following week, the intensive period, which we'll cover later on.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. So let's start now with the recruiting and job search support.
Yeah. So as you know, we will include your resumes in our resume book, which will be posted online and available to our recruiters and employers that have come to MIT through the fall recruiting season. Employers will also have access to your student resumes via our online platform, Grad Leaders. So you as students will have this benefit of the Grad Leaders platform once you arrive. So we will post your resumes to this website, which recruiters are able to log in and find your information and even reach out to you. So we'll make sure that they understand that they can contact you directly if they have further questions about your resume. And then lastly, we'll include you in the profile book, which we'll also post online so that recruiters and employers can get a better sense of your background and place you with the residential students.
Let me just stress out one point. So here, remember that you submitted your resume when you were applying for the program, but this is not the resume that we are going to post here, because you're going to be part of a profile book of the Scale Network, which means all the students from all over the world. So what we want is to keep some consistency in terms of the format. And that's why it's very important that you follow the instructions that Robert shared with you in terms of the format for this resume. If you haven't done it, I understand that most of them have done it already.
Yes, a good portion of you have, and we'll make sure to include any others that have not had a chance to do so.
Okay. So by September 22nd is when we expect that is the deadline.
So by September 22nd, next Friday, a week from now, we're hoping that any remaining people can submit their resumes to me, so we'll include them in our materials.
Excellent. So, and then this is a great opportunity for you, because then if we have it, then we can share it with the recruiters and also some of our corporate partners, so that you get also some exposure prior to coming to MIT to be formally enrolled in the program.
And then once you arrive on campus, you'll be able to join all of the SCM program information sessions, interviews, career coaching, and resume writing practice sessions that we'll have throughout January and into the fall to help you, or January into the spring, to help you navigate your job search. MIT also has extensive resources through the Global Education and Career Development Office. You can view some of those services now, but access to their online platform, Career Bridge, will be given to you once you're a student here. As I mentioned, you'll also have access to Grad Leaders, which is the SCM platform that we've used for managing resumes and reaching out to potential employers and recruiters.
Excellent. So now we go for the international students and immigration.
Yes. So many of you have had questions about your immigration and when you can start. I know everybody's eager to submit their documents as soon as possible so that you can get your I-20 and your F-1 visa as soon as possible. However, we do have to take in consideration that there are time constraints. So for the application process will open in October. The application process will open in October, where you can submit your documents to ISO. This will include the proof of funding that you have worked so hard over the past couple months or the past couple weeks. Submit that, which will be a requirement. Then you'll do your interviews with the embassies nearest to you. Since there are so many intricacies with immigration, the ISO has offered to provide a second webinar just focused on the immigration requirements. So after this webinar is done, I'll send out a small poll to make sure that there's still interest in having a webinar just focused on your immigration, and we'll be able to set that up towards the end of the month.
So this is particularly important for those applicants that are already here in the US and they have a working visa. So some of you approach during the CFX in the social event to tell me, I have already the working visa, so do I need to go for the student visa, and then who guarantees that I'm going to get back my working visa? So for that regard, I mentioned to us that there is no need for you to apply if you can comply with specific requirements, which is a letter from your company and certain things. So it's important that in order to do this in the correct way, you attend this webinar and just ask all these questions directly to the International Students Office, so that you do not get any issue, or in case you have any questions, you can just go directly to the source to get everything from firsthand. Okay.
So next we will move on to housing. I know that is a very popular topic, probably the #1 question that I've gotten so far over the past couple of weeks. So in order to put into perspective the housing situation at MIT, we have 2 slides here. The first one is on-campus housing. Now, many of you have asked, what are my chances of getting on-campus housing? And unfortunately, we cannot oh, sorry. Unfortunately, we cannot have an exact statistic on your chances of getting housing. The reason for this is because vacancies vary each year. So the vacancies will be known towards the end of December when students begin to move out or graduate early. Because of this, there's no specific move-in date for you to move into an on-campus housing assignment. When you are considering your options to apply for housing, what you'll have to do is make sure that you select as many options as you think you would be willing to accept. MIT has over 6 graduate dorms on campus with varying room accommodations. The efficiency rooms, which are studios, usually are the most popular and are not often available. But if you have a roommate or are willing to share bathrooms, it becomes a greater chance that you would get in. But the thing to keep in mind with on-campus housing and with our program here, which takes place January through the end of May, is that if you do get a spring term housing assignment, you will have to move between housing assignments, because there is almost no possibility that you will be able to move in at the beginning of January into your long-term lease. What MIT does is over the month of January, students who are abroad or away from campus are able to put their housing on the market, basically, where you can request a sub-license to temporarily live in somebody's apartment for the month of January. And then once you receive your full-term housing, you would move in September. You would move in February. So it is something to keep in mind that you are here for a very short period of time. So you want to devote a weekend to moving between places if you choose to utilize on-campus housing. If you are not offered housing through the regular allocation period from October 29th to the 26th, then you will be able to add yourself to the graduate housing wait list. The wait list is a rolling process which could give you housing options through January, even up until the start of the spring term in February.
So we have a question. Is there a max number of children for family housing? Do you know that detail?
To my knowledge, there is not. I've seen with 2 or 3 children.
Okay.
But
I don't know.
Family
maybe
housing, yeah.
Maybe somebody has 9, maybe? I don't know.
Family housing, however, is the most competitive to get at MIT. So if you are arriving with your family, with dependents, spouses, then I think you will really need to utilize the off-campus housing resources in order to move your family comfortably to MIT. All of our dorms are located within sort of the triangle that is MIT's campus layout. So most of the graduate dorms are located on the west side of campus. I had to think about it for a minute. Most of the graduate dorms are located on the west side of campus. There are some dorms located on the east side as well, but they are, I would say, maybe a 10-minute walk from the furthest dorms to the central classroom area. Sometimes you need to plan even more time, maybe 20 minutes.
Oh, and I mean, some of you are wondering now about also how the proximity with the classroom and everything. So in general, I don't know from which cities all of you are coming. I mean, at least I don't have it at the top of my head, but we can find out. But in general, Boston and Cambridge area is very nice, and almost everything is either walking distance or very close to the transportation system. So the software, it works, to the best of my knowledge, quite good, except if you are from Boston, you complain here. But in general, I think it's honestly quite good. So don't be so concerned about that. I mean, this may require that you're going to wake up a little bit earlier, maybe sometimes to do some commuting. But it's not like living, I don't know, in a huge mega city. I don't know, I would say Sao Paulo, Mexico City, Mumbai. It's not like that. It's actually quite close. Many things here and very accessible.
And to go over some off-campus housing resources, we have a few questions related. So one thing to also keep in mind if you're off campus and want to commute to MIT, you will have to apply for parking just like employees are required to. There is no student parking lot. And MIT is a very bustling, productive place that they are committed to building more and more facilities, but in doing so, the parking has become more limited. So there are parking lots, economy lots that are available. They're a little further away, take you 20 to 30 minutes to get to the main campus area.
Very nice.
But it is at a cheaper rate and it's more available. So that could be a definite option if you're looking to commute.
No, I think it's important to say that in January, I mean, in the spring, January, February, March, sometimes even in April, we will have a lot of snow, right? And it becomes a bit challenging also just to drive here. I don't know how experienced you are to do that here in the city, but MIT offers the 50% subsidy in the transport system, right? So we really encourage you to use it. I think this is great to be student and at the same time have price. I think it's really a good idea. So try to take advantage of it.
Yep. So with your Kerberos login, you'll be able to utilize the MIT off-campus housing website to find those listings. MIT has preferred vendors or even realtors that they've worked with long-term. They have housing, they have more resources available than just going through Craigslist, for example. But as always, you can use those other online services that are available. MIT also has the FSILG group for fraternities, sororities, and independent living. These are under the umbrella of MIT Housing, but they have their own individual applications. And some of the buildings are not managed by MIT, they're managed by these independent groups. So if you're willing to compromise and move into fraternity housing, I know that's an option that is always available in spring term as well. One person wrote in a question here. If you do try to get family housing and your family moves away later on in the term, then you will have to move out of your family housing. It is so competitive that they require you to have living with you full time. And if there's changes in your living situation, then you would have to move to a new residence. So just keep that in mind. Yeah.
Okay.
So now we will move on to health insurance and your medical form. So many of you are not from the US, so you may not, so in your home countries, you'll have different insurance requirements. Here at MIT, we are required by law to have comprehensive medical insurance for all students who are enrolled at least 12 units. So in your cases, you'll all be enrolled full-time, so you will be required to meet these requirements. The student medical plan will cover some of the basic walk-in, if you have like walk-in urgent care need, if you have a cough, you can go to the student medical health center. But if you have more serious, like if you were required to have surgery or a more serious emergency, you're required to have the extended insurance plan. There's also family plans available for spouses and for children, for spouses and if you have children. The expenses go up and we'll be able to provide a more detailed layout so you can get that example. You will notice that the cost of health insurance has gone up since our original posting. So now we're estimating roughly $2,070 for the full January through spring term. It was previously around $1,500. So those are the new rates for the new academic year, which MIT releases over the summer. And then lastly, you'll have to complete the student medical report form. As I mentioned, we need a complete medical history on your on file with MIT.
Okay, great.
And now we will go on to the tuition and finances. So as I mentioned, your bills will be sent on or around November 10th. It may be November 9th as well. And it will have a due date of December 1st. So this will give you time to plan now so that you can be able to meet these deadlines. MIT has three sort of standard ways of paying. The most common is through their MIT Pay system. So with your student login, your student account, and send payment to MIT through our service called Flywire. That's for domestic and international wire transfers, which posts to your student account. Some of you, if you have sponsored billing from your home company or from a government agency, you can request a sponsored billing agreement, which will be basically a contract with MIT or your company that they will send your payment upon receiving an invoice. And they may set their own terms in terms of like when the deadlines are for those payments. So that may be extended beyond December. So that is an option, and we will have those links available for you through the Student Financial Services site. The last one, which is also popular, is the monthly payment plan. Again, we use an online vendor PMS system. There's a small enrollment fee, but you'll be able to split your bill into 4 or 5 payments between December and April, so that you'll be able to manage your MIT payments. Also keep in mind, when you are paying for the December 1st deadline, to subtract your $2,500 deposit and any additional SCM financial award that you received in your admission offer. Those will post to your account in December, so that they will be credited to you and that your bill will be completely paid, hopefully by the time you enroll in January. For the cost of attendance, we put on the side here some of the figures that we mentioned before. The one that has been updated since we last communicated, as I mentioned, is the extended health insurance. And let's see, we just have a quick question here. If you, let's see, the student
make a report.
Oh no, for the if you have your own health insurance through, if you're in the U.S., you can have several available health insurance resources here. You are eligible to waive the insurance. There is a separate waiver process which will take place, I believe, in December, with a deadline to submit your insurance so that MIT can waive it and remove this charge from your account. So if you know that you meet these requirements, then you do not have to pay for the extended health insurance, and it will be removed from your account. Yep.
Okay, excellent. So if you still have some questions, you can just type them there. Arian is just checking out and asking all these questions. And if you think it's too specific for your situation, in that case, you can just write an email to Robert or to me.
Yeah. And okay, at the very end, we'll cover any questions that we may have missed throughout to go over those as well.
Excellent. Okay, so now after we have discussed like all the part of the pre-work that you need to do before coming in January, now let's have a discussion on the academic requirements and also some of the questions also that you had regarding the thesis and capstone projects. So I will start discussing a little bit more about that, and also to define what we can expect to discuss in the webinar in September 29. Okay? So let's start now. As you know, let me just come back again to the point that I made at the beginning of the session. We are now living the experience of a special program that combines the best of two worlds, which is all the online education with the residential education. And while we are actually taking the best experience of this, you've been working, some of you, for more than 1 year, 1 year and a half, 2 years in the MicroMasters to earn this certificate. Now it comes the part that is very challenging also, because it requires to guarantee to MIT that you are capable of earning this MIT degree just in 5 months. So this is why it's very challenging. That's why I want to stress out there. So part of this experience will be for sure a lot of interaction with the faculty and researchers, interaction between the students, and as you see, we are bringing students from all over the world, not just the London program, but also IAP at the Scale Conference. But all of this together, plus the experience of doing a research project, are like the key elements that will guarantee you are earning a master's degree from MIT, right? And that's why I wanted to mention this. This key element for sure is a research project, and now I would like to comment about this. One of the things that you asked in the previous webinar was regarding the options of the Master of Applied Science. So can we go to the next slide, please? The Master of Applied Science and also the Masters of Engineering, both in supply chain management, right? And in that time, doing the grad applied system, there was no option for Master of Engineering. It was only applied science. And some of you asked, well, is it possible still to pick this option or not? So let me just comment about this a little bit more. So first, there is a substantial difference between these two degrees. One, that is the applied science, requires the students to complete a capstone project, while the Master of Engineering requires the student to complete a master thesis. So while both are research-oriented projects, still there is distinctions in terms of what is the purpose and what is the type of competences, outcomes that you will develop by conducting these projects. So in terms of the capstone project, this is the type of project that is meant to be conducted by candidates that are coming from industry, and also they have the intention to pursuing or continuing a career in the industry, working in companies. So you will work mainly on the solution of a real problem by, of course, developing some research techniques. But at this point, the critical element is to really focus on solving the problem and develop these skills to really interact with real problems and to build this knowledge. While in the thesis, in the master thesis, the focus is more research. You need to develop, in this case, a very comprehensive literature review, so to check very well what is the state of the art of the discipline, to define very clearly, what is the contribution, academic contribution that you're going to have on this, and this puts together also the knowledge that you're going to create, the dissemination of knowledge that you're going to have in your master thesis. And this is more for candidates that are in the career of pursuing an academic development. Right? Like, for instance, you want to do a PhD in some moment, or you want to become in some moment a researcher, a professor, that will make sense, right? Because this is going to really develop competences and outcomes that are related to research skills, while the other is more with the application in terms of the relationship with the sponsoring company and the applied project. So that's why imagine that when we were designing this, and let me just do again this disclaimer we mentioned before, we are building this program at the same time that we are moving towards receiving the first class, right? So we are building the most innovative educational initiative at MIT, and that means also to take risks on this. There is no innovation without taking risks. And one of these is to say we are going to be able in 5 months to really develop the competences and the skills that the students require to earn a master's degree from MIT. So that's why the research project proposal that you submitted during your application was a critical part of the research process. And many of you were very excited, and at that time we gave some guidelines about what type of questions you should tackle in your proposal. And while some of the proposals were, with good quality, then there were others still that a lack of some research focus, which is normal. We were expecting this. Now there are people that may take maybe 5 months to build just a research proposal, and you were giving maybe some weeks to do it. But again, so this is important, and that's why we are encouraging all of you to really pursue the project, the research project that is more suitable for a master program that has an experience, a residential experience of 5 months, which is a master of applied science, which requires the capstone project. Also, because part of the admission requirement on the criteria that we took into account to select this class was also the working experience. As you saw also in the slides, you are coming, many of you, from industry, and you also have an intention to continue in this career in the industry, and therefore this could be like the most suitable program, right? But let me just give you a little bit more of arguments why we believe this is possible. I mean, at the end, it's going to be your choice, because this is also something that we said. But just to give you an idea, what is the academic load we have in both programs? And in general, the difference between both is not substantial in terms of the credit. So, well, the Master of Applied Science, science requires 93 units of credit. The Master of Engineering requires 96, so 3 more, right? But the difference is also the capstone and the thesis. That's why I have the first one in 5 months, 2 exclamation marks, and in the second one, 3 exclamation marks. It's a much more big deal to really complete in 5 months a thesis project with all the rigor, academic rigor that you need to put in this, right? And the quality that is required for this. But just to give you a comparison, so just keep in mind that these programs, they have 93, 96 units in 5 months. Well, 5 months will be half, and probably will comment about this because we are going to take into account, of course, the MicroMasters. So now let me show you some comparisons, with other MIT programs that require thesis. For instance, the Master of Science in Transportation, this is from Civil and Environmental Engineering, 90 units, and requires thesis, but the students work on the thesis 4 times, which means in 2 years. Not 5 months, 2 years, and they start working on the thesis the first term. right? So we have some of these students also working with us in research. And then we have another one, Master of Engineering in Electrical Engineering and Computer Science. Requires between 90 and 96 units. But again, the thesis that is required to earn this degree is completed in 2-3 times, which means 1 year and a half. And again, the students start working on this since the first term. Yes?
And it's worth pointing out here that the residential students who are currently here for the 10-month supply chain management program also must meet the same requirements that you are doing. So they are taking classes right now, whereas you have done the MicroMaster's credential. We have had a few questions of how your MicroMaster's credential will be converted into the requirements for your degree here at MIT, and even down to the details of like how your GPA will be factored, how it will be displayed on your transcript. We're still working those things out, as Josue mentioned. This is the first time that we've done the program, so we are trying to iron out those details, and we'll give you more information on that as soon as we know.
Yeah, we get more visibility as well.
Yeah.
Right. So don't be so concerned about your GPA for now. So we are working on this because we need also to involve other departments and areas within MIT to really answer all these questions. So let me just continue the conversation mainly with the comparison with this program. So as Robert said, imagine the residential program has 10 months, and in these 10 months, the students start working on their capstone or thesis, and still only 10%, approximately 10% of them actually pick to do a thesis. And I will give you now what is one of these requirements. But the vast majority is going to work on the capstone because actually this is the right degree for the master in supply chain management. And this is also what we believe in the blended program, that is the right degree. But it's still, if you want to pursue, despite all this information of the academic load, telling you that this is going to be very intense, and in 5 months you're not just going to take some courses, but at the same time to work on a research project, you say, still, I want to do it. This is going to be the requirements to select the project. So if you want to do the Master of Applied Science, you should not do anything. I say, well, select the option in the survey. Well, the survey is, we will assume that you are in this master's degree, okay? Because we really believe it is the most appropriate, right? And that's why also the research projects we have, and we are going to work on this. We will explain a little bit more later in the webinar on September 29th. But the idea is, as we said before, we are going to take the projects, the 40 plus projects we have, and we are going to reduce them to 20 projects. And these 20 projects, we are going to assign 2 students per project, and we are going to start working on the capstone project prior to coming to MIT in January. So I will comment on that in a moment. But the only thing that you need to do to continue to this option is just select this, and then you're going to be given an option to select or to give your preferences in terms of the projects we have, and also for the assignment. We will also work on deciding on your advisor. We are working also to have all the people that is going to be working with you, some researchers, some postdocs are going to be advising your capstone projects, and we're going to start defining all this plan in this next month. But now, if you say, no, I still want my Master of Engineering. Okay, so now you have to comply with 4 requirements. One, you need to revisit your research proposal. So we will provide you with the feedback on this, and you need to extend the scope, mainly including the academic contribution, the scientific contribution of your thesis, and also more clearly in the methodological part. So these are critical elements apart from all the contributions you intend to have in your thesis, so that we can make the assessment if the quality of the proposal makes sense. Second, you need to find an MIT advisor. So if you come with a topic of, I don't know, you say, I'm going to do a small firms project, and Josue is working on this, and there is a lot of overlap, it can be manageable to think that this could happen. But if you say, no, what I would like to do is I don't know, biodegradable components and the nanotechnology stuff, well, this is not what we do here at the center. And if this is the case, then you need to look for an MIT advisor on your own. So to find the interest from some of them, and if you find the advisor, then you have the second point completed. Then the third is you need to show all the costs. Like saying, I have a proven track of skills to do research. Either you have already some publications in peer-reviewed journals, or you maybe have a PhD degree already, or maybe you have experience with another Master of Science that you've done before. Well, this is great. This actually shows that you know what you're going to do. At least you have had this experience, and then you will not go just thinking that it's going to be something very manageable with all the intense program we're going to have for you, right? And then the final, I need to say that I reserve the right to authorize who's going to work on this. And the main reason is because my job here, or job here of Robert and me, is to guarantee the success of you, all of you, not just for the program, but also afterward. But we want you to be successful. We want you to really develop the competences and the skills. And if we don't have this visibility, it's going to be really challenging to really guarantee this. So we want to really give you the best advice we can, and to live the best experience of MIT. But to have only 5 months to complete this together with the 90, imagine that you have 90 units in 1 year, let's say, if we account for the residential students, so the MicroMasters. Well, all of have these 90 in 2 years. So imagine you're going to have almost the double of classes in 1 semester that the other programs have. So that's why we really are concerned about this, and it's not my intention for sure to cause you some fear or pain on this. It's more like really leading you to the right degree for the blended program, which we are convinced is the Master of Applied Science. Okay, so I hope you take this in the best way. And if you have any more questions, for sure you can reach out to us. If specifically you want to select to do a Master of Engineering, which means a thesis, then you should contact directly to me and Robert, so that we can start with the process and to see how we're going to work. But we're going to do this in the one-person basis, where each of you should contact us, and then we will discuss about this. But if you should simply do not contact us, then we assume that you are in the capstone project, Master of Applied Science.
Yeah.
Yes, Robert.
And for those capstone projects, we have a question here: when will the selection of projects be sent out?
Great question. So yeah, we will cover this in a moment, but in general, this is going to happen before the end of the month, and that's why by September 29th, we are going to discuss also what we're going to do. But the selection is taking place at this time, and that we will inform you as soon as possible, because also what we are looking is the feasibility. Remember all these questions in terms of data availability, methodology, who is the sponsoring company, and at the same time, what is the overlap with the researchers we have in the center that can actually advise those projects. And then based on how interesting is the project, the quality of your proposal, and also the researchers we have, we're going to do this overlap. Still, we will not do this blindly for you. For sure, we will send you the research proposals, and we will allow you to just share with us your preferences, and this is going to be taken into account to do the assignment for sure. All right, so I hope that for Jorge Moreno, who was my student at Montreal Tech.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay, so now we are going to go to the next part, which is all the discussion on the curriculum. So we are going to just briefly show what are the classes, at least the core classes the blended program needs to take, and we are going to cover also an idea of what you're going to be receiving in the class of the challenges in supply chain management. So we'll discuss this in a moment, but just to remind you, if you don't have questions, remember you can just type it, and if this is so particular that you prefer to just send it to us directly, you can still do that. All right? Okay, so we go now with the curriculum. So, Robert.
So as you've seen on our website, we've updated the curriculum to include our most recent updates, and to give you an idea of what you can expect in January and spring term. So in terms of degree requirements, as you've all noticed, the MicroMasters will account for 42 units towards your 93 to 96 unit total. As I mentioned before, we're still working out how that will be displayed within your transcript, your degree, GPA, details like that. We'll be sure to have those answered as soon as possible. We also have core subject requirements that will take place in January and spring. So these will be required of all the blended students to take. In some cases, you'll also be taking classes with the residential students at the same time. So we'll go over those those as well. We also have electives, required electives. On our website, we have the different options that you can choose from. So we have 12 units in analysis electives and 6 units in management electives. Many times the classes that you would take fall between 3 and 12 units. So often you'll be able to take 1 or 2 classes to fulfill these requirements. And then the last part is that you will register for your thesis or capstone project based on the units that we've listed here. 9 units for the capstone, and then the thesis, since it is more work, you will be registered for a few more units, 12 units total. When you do come to MIT, we'll explain sort of all of the MIT lingo of units, subjects, courses. MIT has a lot of different acronyms to describe these things. For now, our classes are our SCM classes are always listed as SCM dot and then the number. So in the January classes, I know we've had a few questions about what's required and what's optional. So SCM 262 and 259 are required classes. January is very unique at MIT. It's one term that lasts 4 weeks. And it officially goes by the name, the Independent Activities Period, IAP. So during this time, departments are able to schedule classes in whatever time they see fit. So for us, the SCALE conference takes place during the first 3 weeks of January. And that is where you will do 262, leading global teams. That is a morning session for 3 weeks. And then you will do the 2 classes that are asterisk, supply chain software and the SCM workshop. These take place over the first 2 weeks of the SCALE conference. You will be able to choose between one of these for credit because as a requirement for the January term, you must register for 12 units. And then in the 4th week, you'll take your business writing class where you will learn the importance of business writing for supply chain management. And this is also required of all the blended students and the residential students as well. They're taking that class right now. For the spring term, you'll have a little bit more flexibility. In terms of requirements, you will take another advanced writing for SCM. This will be in conjunction with the residential students. Then you'll take SCM 253, case studies in financial analysis. This is a weekly seminar where you'll discuss case studies related to supply chain. And then the last required course will be SCM 270. So Jose will go more into detail about this class. It's a brand new class that we've crafted for the blended and residential students. So this will be a very cooperative class where you'll meet everybody. And then at the end, so in addition to these classes is where you would be able to select your electives. Because our curriculum is so intense, you will have choices in the electives, and there may be the option for you to add additional electives, like say you want to take Chinese or some class that's not related to our course. It will be possible, but we'll advise you on those types of things because it will be important for you to manage your time wisely in that spring term because it will go by very quickly, which may include the ability to audit a class. But you'll have to keep in mind that auditing a class still means that you have to contribute, so it will just be a large time commitment. So we'll do that level of advising during the January term so that you're able to select the classes that best fit your schedule.
Yeah. Great. So let me just comment. Now in the current challenges supply chain management, such as Robert mentioned, we have prepare an interesting schedule that's still working on this. So we are trying to really build an experience that will be very exciting for you in terms of the interaction with the residential experience that will complement very nicely all the courses that you have taken already with Chris Kaplis and Eva Ponce and the MicroMasters team. So one of these, no, I'm still in the previous one. So thank you, Sam. So one of the key courses is this one that we have prepared, and that's why we wanted to discuss a little bit more about this, elaborate a little bit more about what we want to do in this SCM 270, which is all the research projects in general that the researchers, faculty from Center for Transportation and Logistics are actually conducting at this moment with different companies and also different organizations in different parts of the world. And with the idea of this course is that you're going to get really the knowledge of the state of the art of logistics and supply chain management. As you know, part of the research vision we have as a center is to really create innovation and drive it into practice. And when we say innovation, means that it should be novel, right? That nobody's actually doing this or seeing this. We are overthinking what's going to happen in 5-10 years, and at the same time applicable. How strong it is, and that's why we are going to be discussing topics like humanitarian logistics, right? All the work that the team of the Humanitarian Response Lab is working on Uganda, Africa, and other parts. All the work of the Megacity Logistics Lab in these big cities and how they are working with technology to provide better solutions for last mile delivery. All the work that also we are doing in terms of sustainable logistics and how to aim for reduction of carbon emissions, the work in small firms, work also in all the part of freight lab. Well, all these things, the idea is that you will receive this not just as a lecture, but more like a workshop study in which the researchers, faculty are going to be sharing with you some of these findings, and you're going to get from firsthand something that actually nobody's getting in the world, which is also something very interesting from MIT, like how easy, well, I can say it like this, is for us to really provide new knowledge and to bring this into the classroom so that the students that are part of our programs can really get the best experience immediately, right? So I say easy because Robert is the one who's working to make it happen, right, in terms of the credits and to comply with all the requirements. But in general, our intention is how we can really build like the best experience for all of you that complements the best, all the work that you've been doing with the MicroMasters experience, right? So there are other electives, of course, as Robert just mentioned. There was only the core classes that were there. So we are going to have for sure electives. And let me just make maybe an advertising here with the best course elective is Sustainable Supply Chain Management, which is taught by me. So don't forget that, that you're not obliged to take it, but it would be nice to see you there. All right. So yeah, there is. If you want more details in terms of the electives, this is going to be given over time, right? So we're still right over.
Yeah. So before you come in January, we'll give a more comprehensive schedule of the full scale conference to give you a better idea of the topics that will be taking place and the webinar, or the speakers, workshops, seminars, everything you can expect during that 3-week period. On this slide, we just included a brief outline of the things you can expect and to sort of put in context when these classes are taking place, because you will receive class credit for these workshops or for these workshops and conference proceedings. So in the morning hours, you will have speakers and workshops through the first 3 weeks, and then also in the afternoon, there will be seminars, expos, tours that will take place during the month of January. And then in that 4th week, you will be, we are still crafting that 4th week for you. That is when you will take the SCM 259, the writing workshop, and you will also, we'll have some special activities just for the blended students because that'll be like our bonding week of experiences. Yep. To also put into context what you can expect for the spring term, in general, we would expect that you would take that class time will be 15 to 20 hours. And then class time would be 15 to 20 hours. And then homework, you can expect to have up to 20 to 25 hours. You'll still have to account for time for managing your thesis work, your capstone project. So as you can see, it will be a very intensive experience. That's why you're required to enroll full-time and sort of dedicate all of your time here at MIT to this program. Yep. Once we have more information about the actual spring term schedule, we'll be sure to send that out to you as soon as we have it.
Yep. Okay, yes, great. So we are almost done with this. Now we are going to discuss what's going to be like the Research Expo and also regarding the capstone project. So as I told you before, we will assume that all of you are going to be working on the capstone project, unless you say otherwise, and then we will start a different discussion. So there was one question that I saw also that is related to the assignment. So is the assignment of the project will consider your input. So we will share with you the projects and you will rank your preferences, so you will share your preferences and we will take that into account to make the final selection. So at the end, we are going to also, like a normal mathematical model, look for the feasibility and all the constraints that we have to try to make it the best as we can. All right. So now let's just go to discuss this capstone project and also the SCALE conference and the Research Expo of all the presentations we are going to have. Okay, so as critical element, you saw now the schedule we have for January when you arrive. We have the SCALE conference, which is the connection of putting all the students from the different programs here at MIT, coming from the different centers of the SCALE network, working together, having interactions, doing case study challenges, competitions, AB, and many other things. And one of the critical elements of this experience is the Research Expo, which is, well, I'm showing some of the pictures here in this slide. So the Research Expo is an important event in which we invite corporate partners of the center, industry partners, but also media, for instance, the Wall Street Journal. And the students get a chance, all the students of the SCALE network get a chance to present their research projects, right? And some of them will be presenting thesis, others are going to be presenting capstone, depending on the type of program. But in general, now, at least here at MIT, the vast majority will be presenting capstone projects, which is the solution of real problems, coming from the industry. And this is actually quite attractive for the corporate partners, right? So the question came in some moment, like the previous weeks, to say how we can actually get the class of the blended program involved in this Research Expo. And the thing is that this is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, in January 23rd, correct? I think 23rd, 24th. It's going to be the third week of the SCALE conference. But this is still like just some weeks after you just arrived to MIT. So how we can actually do it? How we can actually make it happen? So what we are doing now is we are going to really focus on trying to following up with you and to work with you to give you all the guidance so that you can actually get sufficient progress on your capstone and you can present in the SCALE conference. But this is only going to be done if quality permits, right? Because we know that this is a pre-work that we are requiring, but you may say, well, I was not expected to work on this now. I was expected to get there. It's fine. The only thing that is going to happen is that you will not be able to present in the Research Expo, right? Which, as part of the program, as head of the program, I feel that this is really a great opportunity for all of you to really take part of this. But we need to make sure that the quality is high enough so that you can actually present that. So the progress of your project is sufficiently good. So to do this, we need to have the following. As I said, well, for sure, we will do the assignment, as I said. So I said that once you complete the survey, and this is the one that we will send so that you can rank your preferences, provide the preferences of the projects, and we will make the assignment. Once the assignment is done, then you're going to be working. The reward comes with these 4 bullet points. So we will have 4 deliverables. So if you recall, there was a deliverable for December 1st, which at that time we said, well, this is going to be like the extensive research proposal submission. Now, as I said, we are expecting that actually here you're going to have real progress in terms of the definition and the statement of the problem, the brief literature review that you're going to have, and also to try to build some of the implications or managerial insights at that point that you may have that we will put together into the poster and then come and present in the Research Expo. Right. So to do that, the leader of this part will be Tuba, Dr. Tuba Eferinhindil. And she actually pronounces my last name even worse. But she's going to be working. Of course, I'm going to be totally involved in this part as well, so that we can guarantee the quality of all of this, and other researchers, postdocs, are going to be involved on this. So we will have a special webinar to discuss this. So that I know that you will have tons of questions in this part. So once we move on with the survey and receiving your preferences, we can just put everything together, and then we can just have this meeting on September 29th, and we can try to interact in a different way to work very good. So the survey, we will be sending this by next week, so that everybody will provide the feedback, and we will work on this. As I said, in this month, the goal is that all the projects will be assigned together with the advisors, and then we will start working in the deliverables, and we will elaborate what is a deliverable, how we're going to follow up with this, etc. Okay? So for now, just for you to know, try to allocate some time and keep these dates in mind so that you can work on the project if at the end you really want to present to the research expert, which in my view, I really expect that all of you will really want to do it, right? Unless it is really like a heavy reason, why not? This is gonna be a great experience for you and a great opportunity to expose yourself with the corporate partners of the center and also with the media. Okay, so I think we are now almost done. We now are going to discuss like the last ones again. We'll present the first slide, Robert, on the main things they should do prior to arrival. And again, if you have more questions and you are simply overwhelmed with all the things that we are saying, you can see the video again. It's going to be available right in the website and also in our channel in the MIT Scale. Yep. And yeah, you can send the questions later. Reach out to Robert or to me.
Yeah, and so after we're done here, the video will be posted online. We'll also send you a copy of the PDF with all the slides.
Correct.
And most importantly, we'll actually put together a comprehensive guide for you that covers all these topics, especially the pre-arrival information. It'll include all the links that you need for MIT, reiterate the timeline of when things are required things are needed. So that guide will sort of be helpful for you to navigate here. And so you don't have to reference the PDF. You'll be able to see further information about like health insurance plans, things like that.
Like a welcome packet for all of you.
And that'll come out on Monday.
Perfect. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so well, now let's go and see again the timeline of the upcoming deadlines.
So as we mentioned back in the beginning, right now you will continue to submit your resumes to us, register for your MIT email account. I'll be sure to contact the few remaining people that I need to for that. You will also attend the capstone webinar on the 29th. I'll send out a further poll about visa and immigration information. If we get a majority of the students interested in having a supplemental webinar just on the immigration session, we'll do that as well. Probably during that time period between the last week of September and the first week of October. Then you will fill out your immigration documents in October, get your I-20s, and begin your interviews with embassies abroad to get your F1 visa. We have the housing deadlines, and as you can see here, the capstone pre-work will run concurrently to these deadlines. So you're really getting your MIT experience of all the things that you'll need to do prior to coming here. So make sure to allocate some time for your capstone pre-work and completing these things along the way. And one thing to keep in mind is I will be putting together an email list for the SCMb class. So all of our communications, basically from Monday on, will always go to your MIT email accounts. So it will be important for you to make sure to check your MIT email. You can have it forwarded to your personal Gmail accounts or add it to your phones at any point. This email list, you can also send information out to your classmates. We'll allow you to send out select communications as well. But for the most part, it'll be information from Josue and I to help you navigate, and you'll be able to reach out to others as well. Then we will have your tuition payments are due in December. Make sure to complete your student medical report form, and all of your deliverables will have those set deadlines, which Josue will provide more information on in the 29th webinar. And then finally, we will arrive. We've sort of debated about suggesting what exact time you should arrive. As we mentioned, January 4th is our orientation events. They begin bright and early, probably 8 to 8:30 a.m. So you should plan more time before that to arrive at MIT at least, I would say at least a week before. One thing, as you know, it is around the holidays, so MIT will be closed for New Year's and Christmas. And so you'll have to plan around that. I think arriving at the end of December and into that very first day of January will give you enough time to get here, plan for flight delays, which could always happen if there's a winter snowstorm. So it's good to plan a buffer of at least 3 to 4 days, and also give you a little bit of time to adjust to the time zones. Because as you know, even in this webinar, we have people all the way from California who woke up at 7 a.m. We have people all the way in China who are staying up late. I think it's almost midnight there. So we're really glad to be able to, we have a very small window where we can all communicate at the same waking hours.
But could be more exciting than to be on a Friday midnight attending a webinar, right?
So yeah, I think that is basically summarizes everything that we have coming up. And we do have, many of you have sent us questions in advance. So we've integrated those questions throughout the webinar here today. I think if we have any other ones that came up.
But I think we have covered most of it. So there are certain details regarding the building, where they're going to have the classes. We will share all this information with you, so don't worry about this for now. And it's going to be included in the welcome packet. We will share this information. So there are, in this part we did it. Well, some of the questions, the job search.
Yes, the job search. One question we had was, will the job search support be US focused? So a lot of the companies that we do have are multinational, so they'll have offices all over the world. Since we are in the US, most of them will have at least some base in the US. But it's also up to you to be proactive in reaching out to companies and having them discuss with you potential job opportunities.
So what we do is we share, or we try to connect you with the corporate partners and the people, the companies that are having certain relationship with the center or with the program. And of course, because of proximity reasons, most of the companies have operations here in the US, but that doesn't mean that they do not have operations in other parts of the world, or other companies are also coming from other parts of the world, maybe the minority, but they still come and they can be part of a recruitment process. But the main focus for sure will be here in the country.
Yeah. There was one question on feedback for the resumes. So we have taken a look at your resumes, and we will make sure that they are properly formatted and fit with our resume book. And then come in January, we'll be able to submit an updated resume that'll include your information here at MIT, like if you get a US phone number that you want to use, your US address, or if there's other updates that you want to make to your resume, we'll be able to do that in January prior to sort of solidifying the final version of that. The version that we have now is a digital working version where we can submit updates to if needed through January. And then at that time, we'll have everybody here on campus, so we'll be able to have more updates.
Yep. So some of the questions also related to the project. It says for company sponsoring for the thesis or the capstone, do we get a letter from MIT, the non-disclosure? Well, first is remember, if selected, right? So you may be coming from a specific company, but that is not a guarantee that you're going to be working on that, right? This is a first point. The second, if this is happening, for sure, we have a whole process already in place with the residential program, in which we have a description, clear objectives. We also have a non-disclosure agreement signing and all this stuff. So you will get more information once we're having the webinar, and also during this month, so that we can get everything all set up for the capstone, for the research project. Okay. So yeah, there are others also related to the SCMb. Yeah. So
and we have one question here about suggested reading materials or textbooks. The instructors are still finalizing their syllabus, so that could change. You will have access to MIT's learning modules once you're here in January in the spring term. So MIT uses online systems to manage courses, give out materials, syllabus, assignments, and such. If there is anything that is important, that we feel is important for you to read in advance, we'll be sure to send it out with plenty of time. But for now, I think many of you you've already started the program. So you've done your MicroMasters, you're working on your capstone now. So I think those are the really key parts that we want you to focus on in this time period.
Yeah, totally agree. Excellent. I think that, that will be all. So let me just close the session by saying again, well, thank you for all your hard work and also for being with us today. Robert and I, we are very excited to receive you. And honestly, I mean, when we see all the comments that are coming in, we see all those names of those candidates that we were checking up all the time. So you are also like almost a relative for us. So we know you very well, and we are very excited that you are joining to us. So in the same way, if in some moment you have felt that we haven't been very responsive, or there are things that we haven't been able to clarify at that time that you were your questions or emails, we apologize for that. We are building this program from scratch, as you know, and for us it's very exciting, and that's why we are taking all these risks. But for sure, all your feedback and all your comments are more than welcome, and we will try to do our best so that we can really build the experience that you expect to really develop all your competences, and at the same time to really earn the master's degree from MIT, which is really exciting to do it only 5 months after all the intensive course that you took in the MicroMasters program. So the other thing is that we expect from you the best. You saw some of the figures of MIT and the alumni that we have, and to be 8 years in a row, #1 in the world, and since I remember always in the top 2, 3 in the world, implies a lot of commitment from the students. So you are going to be, or you are already part of this, and that means also to carry all these responsibilities. So we expect from you to give your very best, right, and not less, because you are really selected out of the best students in the world. So keep this in mind, and work as hard as you can. And every time that you receive comments, either from Robert or from me, are intended to be helpful for you. This is our main intention, how we can actually help you to really find the best way to get the best knowledge and the best out of the experience of MIT. And this also applies for everything, not just all the administrative stuff, but at the same time, the research projects and all the advice that we can give you for the subject you're going to be taking with us. So, Robert, I don't know if you would like to also comment something?
No, I'd like to say thank you for everybody who's been so responsive to my emails. I know sometimes I've sent out multiple ones, but I feel like everybody's been very responsive, and we'll be able to communicate even better with our email list that I'll set up later today to send you these slides. You can look out for the SCMb 2018 email list. And from this point on, just make sure to always check your MIT email. And I always check mine. Josue and I are always in communication. If you want to call, if you have any questions, you can always feel free to call me as well. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Robert. It was really a pleasure to be with you. And if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us at any time. So take care and have a great day. Looking forward to seeing you guys. Bye.